Welcome back, beautiful tri-state area. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, iHeartRadio. I'm your host, Zen Sams. Up in just a few minutes in our entertainment and pop culture segment brought to you by Romulus Entertainment. Today we're joined by Bill McCuddy, writer, producer, TV personality, and podcast host. Bill spent 15 years with Fox News as the senior entertainment anchor before leaving to review films and do voiceovers. You've probably heard him on hundreds of commercials for Excedrin, Plavix, and Amco. That's just to name a few. He's heard weekly on Sitting Around Talking Movies with Neil Rosen and Bill Bergoli, and hosts the podcast The Accutron Show, which interviews famous people and asks them who from the 1960s inspired you. Today, can you guess what Bill will be talking about? Tomorrow being the day of all days, the night of all nights in the entertainment industry. You guessed it. We're chatting all about the 2023 Oscars, the 95th Annual Academy Awards. Bill is coming on to predict Oscar evening. Now, of course, we do have some insights coming off of two very important Oscar indicators that went down in Hollywood recently, the Screen Actors Guild Award and the Producers Guild Award. We know that Everything Everywhere All at Once, the trippy and moving art house film that was a big theatrical hit last summer, won top prizes at both, basically guaranteeing that it's going to take home the Academy Award for Best Picture. But what about all the rest? Well, here to chat Oscar predictions is the amazing Bill McCuddy. Welcome to the show, superstar.
I can't live up to that introduction, but thank you very much, Zen.
Okay, let's dive right into Best Picture. So the nominations are Everything Everywhere All at Once, The Fabelmans, The Banshees of Inisherin, Tar, All Quiet on the Western Front, Elvis, Triangle of Sadness, Top Gun Maverick, Women Talking, and Avatar, The Way of Water. Do you think that momentum for what once was Everything Everywhere's closest rivals, which I say was The Fabelmans and The Banshees of Inisherin, and to a lesser extent, of course, Top Gun Maverick, do you think that the momentum is dead? Meaning, is there no conceivable path to victory for any of those movies? I mean, it seems like Everything Everywhere has been and will continue to be unstoppable. What are your predictions?
I'm as surprised as you are that a movie with hot dog hands is possibly going to take home the Oscar this year. I wish the other film about hands, which is Banshees of Inisherin, where one actually gets cut off and is a much, much, much better movie, was in the run. I write for something called GoldDerby.com, and they think if anything can upset Everything Everywhere, it will be the Banshees of Inisherin. But as you said, it's won so many things going forward. And the nice thing about it, if you can say anything good about it, besides Michelle Yeoh, who I love and is great in it, and the rest of the cast, Jamie Lee Curtis, and we'll get to that in a second. The one nice thing this year is that America will actually probably tune in for the Oscars for the first time in a long time, because 4 of the top nominees are blockbusters. Elvis it has made almost $300 million. And of course, Avatar has made $2 billion, $2 billion. And Top Gun, which is the movie I wish would win Best Picture because it got us all back into the theaters, has made $1.5 billion. So Everything Everywhere All at Once, not my favorite, but it does probably have the edge going into the big show. And I guess that's okay. It's odd. Some people think it's cool. By the way, I can't find any 2 Oscar voters, and I talk to them every year, that have watched the whole thing.
I couldn't agree more. I think look, momentum for what once was Everything's Everywhere's closest rivals, like you said, the Fabelmans, the Banshees of Inisherin, Top Gun Maverick. I think it's dead. Meaning, I don't think there's any conceivable path to victory for any of those movies. Not because they're not good or great, because they were. But I mean, everything seems like Everything Everywhere has been and will continue to be unstoppable. And I think it's just the generational shift, perhaps, or who knows? Guess who's watching the Oscars in bundles this time? It's a different generation, like you mentioned. It's Gen Z, it's Gen Alpha. They're appealing to the younger
Right.
demographic. So, at this point, it's up in the air. But let's go. Let's move on to, aside from Best Picture, let's chat acting races. So right now, I say there's only one shoe in. Ki Kwan is going to take Best Supporting Actor for Everything Everywhere, having won the same category at the Golden Globes and SAG. So for me, that's an indicator. Now, Bill, the nominees are Ki Kwan for Everything Everywhere All at Once. We have Brendan Gleeson, The Banshees of Inisherin. We have Barry Cogan for The Banshees of Inisherin again. Judd Hirsch for The Fablesman. Brian Tyree Henry for Causeway. What are your predictions?
So Brian from Causeway is just, we can throw that out. That was just no one's even seen that. I don't know how it got nominated. Jennifer Lawrence is in that. It's on Apple TV. It's a fine movie. He's good in it, but no one has seen it. If anyone can upset here, and usually we say when there are two nominees in the same movie, Banshees of Inisherin, the Brendan and Barry would cancel each other out. But everyone seems to like this performance by Barry Keoghan, and I think if anyone can take it away, that's the guy that's going to upset. But you're right. I mean, this has been kind of the lock of the year. He was short round, and he's so beloved that I think it goes to Everything Everywhere All at Once in the supporting category. That'll be an early prize that night, and that'll begin what I think is going to be a mini sweep for the film.
I love it. Yeah, you said it. Those are the right predictions, regardless if we feel the film should sweep at all. Now, let's chat Best Actress, Best Actor, and Best Supporting Actress. These are tighter than a star's forehead after a Botox treatment. So let's start with Best Actress. Okay, we have Kate Blanchett in Tar. We have Michelle Yeoh in Everything Everywhere All at Once. We have Anna de Armas in Blonde. We have Michelle Williams for The Fablesmans. We have Andrea Riseborough for To Leslie. We know Kate Blanchett's performance in Tar is career best work, right? And it has won every precursor imaginable thus far. But as the great,
well, not every precursor. Michelle Yeoh has won a couple, including the SAG the other night and the Critics' Choice Awards. Actually, I'm sorry, you're right. She won. Kate Blanchett won the Critics' Choice, and that's the group she got up in front of. I vote in the Critics' Choice Awards; those were over a month ago, and she got up at that venue and said she doesn't need another Oscar. Basically, this is Kate Blanchett, and she said two things. Michelle Yeoh did a great job, but have you seen Andrea Riseborough? And that's the story we really need to talk about, because that little movie is even smaller than Causeway, but everyone has seen it because that came out of nowhere. That was basically a grassroots campaign by the wife of Mary McCormack, who played Howard Stern's wife in Private Parts. The actress Mary McCormack actually got on social media and got Andrea Riseborough in the conversation. So if there's a crazy upset that night, the only reason it could happen for Andrea Riseborough is that's the last movie all the voters saw. And she's really, really good in it. But otherwise, it is a two-woman race. It's Michelle Yeoh for Everything Everywhere or Kate Blanchett. And I think the thinking is Blanchett has two, and she doesn't need another one. The Oscars doesn't necessarily like to rubber stamp everything that everyone else has done. True. Or Everything Everywhere, everything else everyone's done. So I think there's a chance here that something interesting could happen. Otherwise, it's Michelle Yeoh's, I think, for the taking. She's given heartfelt speeches. She's an Asian woman. She's of an age that this is probably one of the last times she'll win. She may be nominated again, but I think they want to give it to her. So I think I'm going to say Michelle Yeoh for Best Actress.
I agree, and I echo that sentiment. And if you go back and you look at the great Olivia Colman upset over Glenn Close of 2019, that official title proved Best Actress is a place where legends can unseat legends, and momentum for Michelle in Everything Everywhere All at Once has only grown in recent weeks, to your point. I mean, the film racked up an impressive 11 Oscar nods, even in unexpected categories like Best Original Song, something the cast and crew admittedly, they said, never imagined before. And the film, they never imagined this before. The film became A24's highest grossing picture of all time in early 2022. So, there you go.
You should point out The Color Purple got 11 nominations and didn't win a single Oscar, but that's very rare. This is going to take home, as I said, probably a little mini sweep. But this is a category where I think one of the biggest snubs of the year happened, and that's that Danielle Detweiler from the incredible Till, which was my favorite movie of the year.
Loved,
Did
loved,
not
loved him.
get nominated. Cannot believe that that didn't happen. And you mentioned Olivia Colman, and she was in Empire of the Sun, which I thought she was okay to really good. I'm surprised that that didn't get nominated as well, but I guess they figure she just won recently, and so she's okay.
Yeah, I hate the way they knock things out like that, just, of what preceded that
It's a
actor, but
political thing. It's
terrible.
don't always think the best. You think The Departed was the best thing that Martin Scorsese ever did. They don't necessarily give it to the best work for each artist. They think it's a lot about timing, and it's a lot about how they feel about you that year.
Yeah. All right, let's move on to Best Actor. We have three and a half minutes in the segment left, and I also want to cover Best Supporting Actress predictions. So for Best Actor, we have Austin Butler and Elvis, Brendan
Thank you
Fraser,
very much.
Brendan Fraser in The Whale. We have Colin Farrell for The Banshees of Inisherin, Bill Nighy. I hope I'm saying his name right. In
It's
Living.
just Bill Nye.
Bill
Bill
Nye, right?
Nye.
And Paul Mescal in Aftersun. So each of these year's Best Actor nominees occupies a unique space in the awards race, Bill. For the first time in decades, each honoree is a first timer in the traditionally competitive category. Right. While it places each leading man on a somewhat level playing field, Brendan Fraser's turn as a 600-pound recluse in Darren Aronofsky's The Whale ticks, certain tried and true boxes, that the Academy tends to favor. I
think this is the lock of the night. I think you buy a farm and you bet it, because this is the sort of transformation that they love.
Yeah.
Raging Bull. I said on another show, Nicole Kidman won by a nose. They like it when actors put the prosthetics on. This is a 350-pound suit. He needed two people to walk him around. If he fell over, he was going to break things like the floor. He's been doing a great job, Brendan Fraser, and it's a comeback story. Where was he for the last 10 years? He's been explaining, and I think that's the lock of the night.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, 2 minutes here. We have lastly Best Supporting Actress prediction. So Angela Bassett becoming the first performer to receive a nomination for a Marvel movie makes sense with Hollywood's collective fantasy at this point in time. She's a beloved actress who has weathered the storm of ever-changing industries. Of course, Hollywood has had many faces across multiple decades, and having already succeeded as a prestige performer. In fact, her first Oscar nod came from 1993's What's Love Got to Do with It? But I say don't dismiss Carrie Condon's recent BAFTA victory as a fluke, because she could spoil Bassett's reign. What do you predict here?
I like Carrie. I think you're right about what everyone is thinking in terms of Angela Bassett. But I don't think you can ignore the fact that the Screen Actors Guild gave it to, and I predicted this months ago, Jamie Lee Curtis for Everything Everywhere All at Once. As I said, this is going to have a little mini sweep, and I think she's Hollywood royalty. Her dad is Tony Curtis. Her mom is Janet Leigh. She's been in making movies since, Halloween, and she's just beloved out there. She's a dame. She's married to some count or some something, but she never wears that. She never goes around saying, please call me lady. It's just she's charming. She's playing it right. And I think this is the year she takes home an Oscar. It's my most controversial call of the night, but I think it's going to happen.
True, because the Academy is probably longing to give this to her, like you said, to your point. But there's an itch in me about Angela Bassett right now, because she's got the entire world, watching if she takes this home. And listen, who deserves it more? They're both incredible actors, but on the political side, I do have to say, I hope Jamie Lee takes it, because I think it's time, it's due.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, well, we are out of time, my dear friend. Thank you so much for
Play
coming
me
on.
off, just like the Oscars. Don't you have some music you can just play me off?
We will add the music and play you off for sure. You are amazing. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thanks.
Guys, that was our entertainment and pop culture segment brought to you by Romulus Entertainment. That was the amazing Bill McCuddy. So check him out at the Accutron Show if you go to accutronwatchcompany.com, or you could follow him on Twitter at Bill McCuddy and Instagram at MMcCuddyBill. It's kind of reverse on that one. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, iHeartRadio. We'll be right back after this.
A Moment of Zen is brought to you by Caldwell Soames Incorporated, investing globally in transformative businesses like Original Digital Corporation, or ODC. ODC develops advanced consumer and commercial fintech solutions such as OG Pay, which will transform the way you manage your money. From sending and receiving money globally for free, paying for goods and services in person and online, pay bills, buy and sell digital currencies, all while earning interest. OG Pay is easy to set up, FDIC insured, and your information is secured. Check out ogpay.com.